Australia woke to a tragedy in Alice Springs. 5-year-old Indigenous girl Kumanjayi Little Baby had been found dead. By nightfall, grief became fury. A hospital under siege, fires in the street, and a community demanding payback. So how did mourning turn into riot? On Thursday, April 30th, after 5 desperate days of searching through dense scrubland on the outskirts of Alice Springs, searchers found a body. It was the 5-year-old girl her community had been looking for since late Saturday night. Police confirmed the worst. The girl, now referred to by her family as Kumanjayi Little Baby, in keeping with Indigenous cultural customs, was gone. Her suspected killer, a 47-year-old man named Jefferson Lewis, a man with prior convictions for physical assault, recently released from prison, had been named as a suspect earlier in the week. That night, he walked into a town camp in Alice Springs, and the community took matters into their own hands. Northern Territory Police Commissioner Martin Dole said at a news conference Friday morning,
"As a result of presenting himself, members of that town camp decided to inflict vigilante justice upon Jefferson, and we received numerous phone calls saying he was in the process of being assaulted."
Lewis was beaten unconscious. Police responded quickly, pulled him out, and rushed him to Alice Springs Hospital. Within hours, a crowd of roughly 400 people had gathered outside. What followed was described as one of the worst riots the town had ever seen.
During that apprehension, our police were assaulted, ambulance officers were assaulted. We conveyed Mr. Lewis to the Alice Springs Hospital, and shortly after, a large crowd gathered and tried to gain access to that hospital and access to Mr. Lewis. Police responded, and we called out all the resources we had available to quell that violent disturbance.
Projectiles were thrown, police cars were set alight, rubbish bins burned, windows of a service station across the road were smashed. 4 of Alice Springs' 5 ambulances were put out of commission. Police used tear gas and non-lethal rounds to push back the crowd. 2 officers, 2 paramedics, and a firefighter were injured. 1 police car was destroyed, and a woman in labour could not get into the hospital.
We are so angry for what he's done. He was an innocent little baby, so vulnerable, yet they're protecting him. Yes, what he's done. Come on, let us have it. Right about what he's done. Innocent little baby. She had to go through the pain like a big girl.
The grief and the rage were inseparable. The calls from the crowd for payback, a concept rooted in traditional Aboriginal law, typically referring to physical punishment, reflected something deeper than a single night's anger.
I want to say this is really wrong, and we're all sad, we're all hurt, and it's like the feeling that they're protecting this guy and shooting us with rubber bullets and shooting us and all that, with rubber bullets all over again. People got shot a couple years ago for this stuff, and it's like the system's not sticking up for us and not let us get our traditional payback and just let us walk all over us with our laws and culture, you know?
Lewis was transferred to Darwin in the early hours of Friday morning for his own safety. Charges are expected in the coming days. The investigation continues. By Friday morning, May 1st, the scenes outside Alice Springs Hospital looked like a cyclone had passed through. Traditional owners, police, the Prime Minister, and the family of Kumanjayi Little Baby herself all stood before cameras and microphones asking the same thing: stop.
This man has been caught, thanks to community action, and we must now let justice take its course while we take the time to mourn Kumanjayi Little Baby and support our family. Now is not the time to be heroes on social media or make trouble.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said he understood people's anger and frustration, but urged the community to come together. Indigenous leader Michael Liddle did not excuse what happened. He framed it as a failure that hurt the very community it came from.
When you take those services out, we've got a scenario of no rules. Then people become hurt. When we woke up this morning, it looked like a cyclone had gone through the place. We need to let the family mourn, not create more sadness and angst in our minds and our souls.
Commissioner Dole did not soften his words about the night's events. He also did not pretend the investigation stops here. He warned that Lewis did not survive the week entirely alone.
My message to those people is, look out, because we're coming for you as well.
Indigenous Australians, who have lived on this land for 50,000 years, make up nearly 4% of the country's population, but account for a disproportionate share of its incarceration, suicide, and poverty. Thousands live in town camps on the edges of Alice Springs, where housing and services remain inadequate. This is the backdrop against which a little girl went missing, was found dead, and a town broke open.
It really hurts me saying it, but she was just a little queen for us. She was a little daughter. She was just a little lady.
A day-long ban on takeaway alcohol was put in place Friday. More police were being flown in from Darwin, and somewhere in all of it, the family of Kumanjayi Little Baby was asking for something simple: space to grieve.